Okay, so what if the most powerful person on the planet was, well, no longer in control? Today, we're going to dive into Unelected Power, this incredible fictional story that asks that exact question. It imagines a crisis so deep that a small circle of staffers has to secretly run the entire country.
I mean, that one line right there just sets the whole scene, doesn't it? It's the setup for a truly chilling political thriller. It takes the very idea of democracy and just flips it on its head. It really digs into this terrifying scenario. What happens when the person we all elected to lead just can't anymore?
And that's really the question at the heart of this entire story. And it's not an easy one, right? It forces you to think about that incredibly fine, fragile line between protecting a country and straight up deceiving it.
So here's how it all kicks off. The story starts when the president's cognitive abilities start to decline, and it creates this massive, dangerous power vacuum. To stop a full-blown panic, a tiny group of senior staffers decides, okay, we have to step in, and they start managing everything from the shadows.
And they give themselves a name, the Council of Stability. Now, their goal, at least at first, seems noble enough. They want to keep up the appearance of a functioning government to shield the nation from total chaos. But what it really is, it's a decision made for the people, but completely without the people.
So who's actually in this secret circle? Let's meet the players. You've got Cassandra Wynne, the chief of staff, and she is absolutely the one in charge. Then there's Ruth Ellis, the president's closest aide, kind of the group's moral compass. We've got Theo Marlowe, the speechwriter, and you can already tell his conscience is starting to eat at him. Fiona Park is the comms director, the ultimate pragmatist, just trying to manage the message. And finally, Dr. Samuel Shale, the White House physician who knows the medical reality here is just undeniable.
And just look at this. This shows you the pressure they're under from the outside world. The president is being seen less and less, which means rumors about his health are spiking. And you see the media using these phrases like quiet concern, which is just getting louder and louder. Basically, they're losing control of the story because, people aren't stupid. They can sense something is deeply wrong. The clock is absolutely ticking.
And this exchange, man, it just perfectly captures the ethical tug-of-war happening inside the council. You have Theo, the speechwriter, who's just crushed by the weight of it all, saying it feels like lying. And then you have Cassandra, the chief of staff, who immediately reframes it as it feels like leadership. Two sides of the same very, very dangerous coin.
Okay, so this brings us to the how. How in the world do they actually pull this off? How do you manufacture stability and maintain this massive illusion day in and day out?
Well, they build this incredibly detailed system of deception. I mean, it's an entire machine. First, all his scripts are simplified, nothing over 90 seconds. Step 2, no open questions from the press, absolutely none. Then, they use aides to give him physical cues, literally guiding him during appearances. And maybe most importantly, any footage that shows him stumbling or freezing, it gets deleted instantly. It's a full-time job just keeping up the lie.
But behind all that public machinery, the private reality is just heartbreaking. There's this quiet moment where the president, completely confused in a place he knows better than anyone, turns to his aide Ruth and asks, "Is this the guest house?" And she has to say, "No, sir, you're home." It's just a gut punch that shows you the real human cost of this whole charade.
And the White House physician, Dr. Shale, he just nails the sense of dread with this incredible metaphor. He says, we're propping up a building with cracked foundations, and we're pretending it's marble. Wow. I mean, the whole council knows it. They know this can't last. They're just polishing a beautiful facade that's about to crumble.
But of course, something this fragile, this built on lies, it can't hold forever. And when the cracks start to appear, it all begins to unravel. And it happens really, really fast.
The whole thing collapses in just 10 days. On day 1, the president has a public freeze during a photo op that they can barely cover up. Just a few days later, there's a disastrous hot mic moment on a Zoom call with world leaders. And by day 10, the dissent inside the group just boils over when Fiona Park, the comms director, decides she's had enough.
And that unmuted moment on the call, that is the absolute tipping point. Foreign leaders literally hear the president whisper, "What meeting is this?" I mean, can you imagine? It sends these shockwaves of instability all over the globe and throws the council into complete 5-alarm crisis mode.
Right after that call, the split inside the council just becomes a canyon. Cassandra digs in her heels, insisting, we are protecting stability, we are preventing panic. But for the others, like Fiona and Theo, the quiet part is now screamingly loud. This is deception. We are ruling without consent. The lie has become too big.
And that brings us to the climax of the story. This is where that internal conflict finally bursts out into the open and becomes this unstoppable public firestorm.
So what's the final breaking point? It's an act of rebellion from within. Fiona Park, the communications director, does the unthinkable. She drafts and submits a formal, classified report that says, point blank, the president is unable to govern. This isn't just a leak, it's an official act that could trigger a constitutional crisis. It's a desperate move to put a check on a branch of government that has gone completely dark. And her justification is just so simple and powerful. Cassandra confronts her, saying she's going to rip the administration apart, and Fiona's response is just perfect. The administration is already ripped. I'm just telling the truth. She's not the one causing the problem. She's just the one brave enough to say it out loud.
But here's the real twist in the story. Before the council can even figure out how to handle Fiona's report, a different classified document leaks to the press, this time from the medical wing. And this is so important. It proves that they had already lost control. The whole thing was falling apart with or without them. The dam was already breaking.
And the public reaction is exactly what you'd expect. Immediate and chaotic. You can see the firestorm ignite. Rumors just explode across social media. And suddenly, there's only one question on everyone's mind, dominating every conversation. Who is actually in charge? So, that brings us to the final act. The truth is out. There's nowhere left to hide. The council has no choice but to finally face the nation and face the consequences of what they've done. And the story boils down this huge, complex crisis into one simple, powerful question from a protester outside the White House. The question cuts through all the political maneuvering, all the strategy, and gets right to the heart of it. Why did you do it? Why didn't you trust us? It's all about that fundamental breach of trust. And in the end, it's Cassandra, the person who started this whole thing, who has to deliver the final reckoning. In a public address, she admits their failure. It wasn't the intention, she argues, but the result. We believed we were preventing chaos, she says. Instead, we created it. And with that, she finally says, we give the country back to its people. She relinquishes the power they were never supposed to have. And the story leaves us with this one last haunting question to think about. It really suggests that the job of protecting a democracy doesn't just fall on the people in power. It falls on all of us, the citizens who have to stay vigilant and demand the truth. So the question is, who is keeping watch?